so as I said, we're going to be working with Ridiculously Awesome, which is this stamp set today. This is a stamp set that was created by Rhonda Wade, which is one of our demonstrators, to celebrate her $1 million in personal sales. So it's called Ridiculously Awesome. It says, make today ridiculously awesome. You are my sunshine. Let your faith be bigger than your fear. P.S. I love you. Starbursts, a star, a heart, and of course our favorite, you got this. So let's get started. Now, before we get too far down the road, I want to show you a little bit about what I'm using tonight. These two pieces of paper are from the new Hostess DSP set. Yes, that's what I said, a Hostess special DSP. So if you are a host for a gathering or a party, this is one of the things that you can earn with your benefits. Let's turn this light on just a second. That makes that better as well. This paper pack is one of the things you can earn. Now, these aren't the only two patterns, but it comes and it starts with the basis of these colors. Now, look at this. This is quite an array of colors. The colors that are listed on the packaging, and you know how Stampin' Up! Does that. They do it in alpha order. But let's start with Crushed Curry, Misty Moonlight. I know these are not in alpha order right now. Granny Apple Green, Pool Party, Petal Pink, Flirty Flamingo, Poppy Parade, and Pale Papaya. Oh, Pale Papaya, you ask? Well, what is that? Well, let me show you. Pale Papaya is one of the new 2021 to 2023 in colors. Now, you know that Stampin' Up! Runs their normal collection of colors. There are 4 sets. We have the basics, the brights, the subtles, and the regals. And at the same time, they run 2 separate sets of in colors that are good for 24 months, and they alternate them. So every time you have a new set of in colors and an old set of in colors. Does that make sense? All right, so this is one of the new in colors that are coming out with the new catalog. But what I love about this, and I put these in this order, is because, and I'm going to take these 2 out for the time being, this paper has this color order, and this is what I think looks like the color order. It looks like it starts with a Granny Apple Green, goes to Pool, well actually it's Pool Party, then Granny Apple Green, Petal Pink, Flirty Flamingo, Poppy Parade, and it looks like it ends with Pale Papaya. I'm not really sure. But that's the best I can come up with on this comparison of colors. Now, what I think this reminds me of is the old fruit stripe gum from a million years ago that was neither fruity nor, well, I guess it was kind of fruity, but it was really sweet is all I remember. So we're going to start with these colors, and here's another piece of the paper that comes in that set. Now there are actually I think 8 different patterns, 8 different fronts and backs, and you get 4 of each, which is a total of 48 pieces of paper, but 48 12 by 12 paper, which would be awesome for scrapbooking. But it gets even better, guys. So these are 2 of the front patterns, but look at the back patterns. Look at what you could do with this. You could use your blender brushes to color these in. You could color these in and then fussy cut these out. I mean, there are any number of things that you can do with the black and white. So half of this packet is black and white, and half of it is this set of colors. Now, I'm not going to show you the whole packet because we're in the process of unveiling our new catalog this week and I guess the next couple of weeks. And not all of our demonstrators have been able to see everything in the catalog, nor have they been able to see the new products. So this is on what's called a pre-order. And so I was lucky enough to get a package of this. So without any further ado, let's get busy stamping. So the first thing we're going to do tonight is we're going to stamp the insides of 2 of our cards. And I want to use the Let Your Faith Be Bigger Than Your Fear as the inside sentiment. And I'm going to use my Stamparatus tonight. And so one of the things that I like to do with this is to stamp it somewhere and say, okay, this is where I'm going to stamp it. I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And with the Stamparatus, you know, you go down, you pick it up like this. And we are going to use Poppy. No, we're going to start with Pool Party with our first color, Pool Party. And well, what I'm going to do first is stamp it simply on the background on this work paper, this work tab. This tells me where it's going to stamp on the paper. So now I can come back in and I can put my card insert, because we're using some darker cardstock, and I can put my card insert in and somewhat center that. So right there, it's not exactly centered, so let's scoot it over a little bit there so we know it's going to be just between these two lines. And then I'm going to go ahead and put it up to about here, and I think that's going to be a perfect location for that sentiment. It's going to be on the inside of the card, and so you just want to have something there. You know how you buy printed cards and they're printed on the inside. So let's stamp that up. I probably need to re-ink this. Pool Party is sort of a faint, one of the lighter colors. Let's go ahead and stamp that again. And with the Stamparatus, that's always something you can do. You can stamp it multiple times. It's awesome. All right, so now we're getting a much darker image. Let's do it one more time. And I think if I had re-inked this, that would be much better. So let's go ahead and finish that. Now I'm going to take a pencil and very lightly mark that line and that way I know if I put in, when I put this other inset in there, I'll know exactly where I need to put it. This is one of the beautiful things about a Stamparatus, is that you can do these types of things. So you can set some things up, and as long as you don't move the stamps on this plate right there, then you can make multiple copies. And in fact, I could even wipe this off, clean this off, and start with another color, knowing that it's going to be perfectly fine. And then I'm going to show you one more trick. One of the things that I like to do a lot when I'm stamping is I like to use a lot of tone-on-tone stamping, which means I use the same color ink as I have paper. And that doesn't always work. It helps if you have a lighter color paper sometimes, and then actually it's probably better if it's mid-tones, but we are going to take the inside of this card, so this is going to be the inside of the front, and we're going to, just like we did the others, we're going to line that up just like we did the others. And because it's all pre-located, I guess it'd be the best way, pre-positioned, not pre-located, pre-positioned, we can come in, stamp, and again we're going to do 2 or 3 images, and that way you can, with your multiple impressions, make sure you have plenty of ink on it, and it gets, and see how nice those colors complement each other when you go tone on tone. I really, really like that. Okay, so let's close this up for a minute. We're not going to need that yet again. So let's take our Simply Chamois and very quickly wipe off our stamp, just so that we don't get ink everywhere, which, you know, if there's red, usually I get it all over me. Now I'm going to leave this on the Stamparatus plate because I may choose to make some more of these cards. But the thing about a Stamparatus, which is awesome, is that it's two-sided. So I can flip this over, and now the next thing we're going to stamp is our sentiment of let your faith be bigger than your fear. So, or no, we're going to, I'm sorry, we just did that one. So we're going to say make today ridiculously awesome. So let's bring it over here, lay this down. Now I'm going to pick up the Poppy Parade because this is a very bold statement and I want to make a very bold image. We'll ink it up and stamp on our paper. And look at that. That is a beautiful image. Here's what I'm going to do though. I have chosen to stamp this on the stitched oval, which is one of the stitched shape framelits, which unfortunately are soon to retire, but you can still get these through the end of the catalog year. So if this is something that you think would be a great addition to your supply, then set of supplies, and this is a great purchase to make. So let's go ahead and re-ink this, and then we will put this down. And my magnets, because I've been able to place the paper just where I want it, and the magnets, I've got corners, I'm able to secure the paper on this page. Now, that made a beautiful image, and we will set that aside. So there's one more of those. Now, the last thing we're going to do is, you got this. Now, I find it interesting. You know, there's been a lot on social media lately, and interestingly enough, I question if this is something I should be putting on a card, because I've had people complain to say that's actually not really patronizing, but it's saying, hey, you can do everything. And you know what? As working moms and women, I don't know what you can do at all. I don't know. You know, I did a lot when I was working. I'm recently retired, but you know, that's a lot. And I just want to know, I'm curious, as we regroup after COVID, how things are going to turn out and how normal things are actually going to be. So this time I'm picking up another oval. This time I'm going to orient it vertically, and I'm going to place it over where so I know that's where that's going to stamp. And again, I can use my magnets to just very barely touch the paper to hold that. I'll re-ink my image. I'm going to make sure that G is nice and juicy. There we go. We got this. You got this. And look at that. I think I'm going to stamp that one more time, just for good measure. Oh, lovely. Okay, so let's close up these ink pads. Got these to the side. Let's see, we've got one more. So we can either do Ridiculously Awesome or You Got This. So I think what I'm going to do is use Ridiculously Awesome, but I'm going to do it with the pool party. So obviously I'm going to need to wipe this off, get this cleaned off very well. Now I do talk about when I use any of the reds or pinks that it looks like a crime scene after I've been stamping with them. Even today when I was putting on labels, I have excuse me just a second, I added to my collection of stamp pads and got the Mary Merlot, which is a dark burgundy. I did not have the stamp pad before this week, and so I ordered it, and of course it's a red. And as I was putting the labels on it, there's one thing that you can do. You can open up the stamp pad, which let me show you. It's really kind of a neat thing to do on our stamp pads. So they come with the color label on the front, and then on the back there is a sticker that has a number of labels, and it provides it pale papaya, so they have the label in English, and then they also show it in French. They offer it in German and Japanese, I believe. And then, so I put the English on the front because that's the way my cabinet sits, but I also put a strip on the back so I can look at it in case it's on my table somewhere. I can see what color it is. But the thing that Stampin' Up! Has done, which I think is really clever, on the insides of their stamp pads, they also have these little color keys right here that are also stickers. So if you're sitting and you're working on something and you have multiple stamp pads open, you know, you think, well, I know exactly what color that is. But if you have a number that are of the same shade or different hues, and so you've got peaches and pinks and those types of things, that way you can double check to make sure you have it. But I was doing this today with some other stamp pads, and I got ink all over me just because I was that messy. So, all right, so let's figure out how we're going to do the Make Today Ridiculously Awesome. So this piece is a little bit bigger than it needs to be, so we're going to come up and we're going to go maybe halfway here. So we'll just do this. And I'm not real concerned about the alignment, simply because I think we're going to come back and trim some of this. But we shall see. So let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and take this off because I've got a magnet over here in the way. So let's stamp that down. Count to 5. You can apply a little bit of pressure. And like I said, this is one that I think I probably need to re-ink, but if I re-ink it now, it will be horrendous. So I won't do that quite right now. But I want to also show that using a little bit of an assembly line, and I won't say it's truly an assembly line, but I've pre-cut my ovals and I found a couple of pieces of scrap paper. So I'm able to come back and pretty quickly knock out 3 cards. So that's one thing I want to show you, is that not every card has to be this incredibly engrossing and time-consuming project. All right, we're finished with the Stamparatus now, so now we're just going to start layering our paper on to our card base. So to keep from looking like Christmas, I think I'm going to stick with the red on the red and the green on the green, and the pool party on the pool party. So let's do this. So we can put the floral on here. Now, these go back to my layers. Remember, we've talked about the layers. And so all I've done is I've cut the base at 5.5 by 8.5, and I scored it at 4.25, so you get a standard 5.5 by 4.25. And then this paper I've layered here is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So that's going to be how we assemble that one. And then we'll come back over here and put the fruit stripe on this one, just because it looks so cute. And I think what we'll do is we may just turn this one, and no, we can't because we've already done our insides. Oopsie. So we'll make this go like that. And in the meantime, I'm also going to pick up some more of this polka dot. You've seen me use this a lot. I love this ribbon. This is one of my favorite ribbons, and unfortunately, it too is soon to be discontinued, but we're going to make this happen really quickly. So let's grab our Stampin' Seal and put our paper on the front of the card. Line that up just like so. Now I'm going to make a bow of some sort. I think I'll put this on with, oh, and if you've been watching, you will be excited to see that I finally got my supply of dimensionals in. I don't know what my problem is with ordering these. I kept forgetting to order them, and then they finally came in. I was so excited, and I thought, I've got to make sure I save a package so I don't use them all before I order again. Oopsie, that was almost in the wrong spot. So we'll say, make today ridiculously awesome. And then we'll make a little ribbon, a little bow. And all I do when I tie bows like this is I make 2 loops. This goes back, harkens back to preschool days. 2 loops, so you have 2 bunny ears. Flop one over the other. And tighten them, and that gives you a big bow. Then you can come back and adjust the loops like you want them. And let me see here, just one more second. Go home. There you go. So we're just going to trim this off. So we'll put this at the bottom with a little glue dot. Now, y'all know about glue dots. These come in a roll from Stampin' Up. And currently, I am actually using up some extra glue dots that have come in our paper pumpkin packages and some of our paper pumpkin kits. And let's see what else. We have other kits that have come during our catalog periods that have glue dots in them. So we're going to stick that right there, and we will come back and trim this and trim that. Now that's pretty quick. Now what we're going to do is, you're going to make today ridiculously awesome because your faith is going to be bigger than your fear. So let's put this in, like I said, using a Stampin' Seal, which is one of our dry adhesives. This is a great adhesive. I love it. Now I cut this one actually at 4 by 5 1/4. I made it a little bit smaller than the front. So there's one card finished, super quick. So let's do the next one. Now, I'm going to do this one a little bit differently. I'm going to put the You Got This on here, but I think I'm going to tie the ribbon around the DSP. So let's just do this. And I think at this point, I'm probably just going to tie it into a knot. You know, if you tie it into a knot, it's not quite so, it's not as feminine, perhaps you could say. So that way you can use it if you're sending it to a group, or to, it just makes it a little bit more of a, I don't know, just maybe a little bit more consumable card. So we're going to leave that like it is for right now. We're going to take our stamp and seal and do that. Now, one of the things I like to do when I put fiber on the front of a card like this is I try not to put adhesive on the fiber or the ribbon unless I absolutely have to, because then I can always come back and adjust it if it hasn't had any adhesive on it yet. So you can slide it along here. So let's trim this. And then we're going to come back with the "You Got This" right down here. And so one of the things that I'm really looking forward to in the new catalog, which I don't want to talk about it too much, that I have many things that I'm sad to be seeing that are going to be retiring. And in fact, next week's blog post is going to be highlighting the number of cards, a number of sets that I am sad to see go. That's one of the reasons I'm highlighting the retiring sets now, because we still have an opportunity to get some of these if it's something you'd like. And then soon after that, I guess next week I'll be highlighting my favorites that are going away. And the week after that, I plan to do a number of cards highlighting the sets that I have in stock already. I have several that I've already gotten my hands on. So here too, like that. So now let's come back and finish this one. So we look at this and we say, well, gosh, we don't have any DSP to put on here. You're right, we don't. But you know what? You don't always have to have DSP. And I want to show you a quick trick using the stamps out of this set. So we're going to use the stars. And we are going to grab a block. And we're going to grab our Pool Party ink. And we're going to come back and we're going to do tone-on-tone stamping. And we're simply going to stamp stars on the front of the card. I find that this sometimes makes, it's nice to have some simple cards on hand. This makes for a very simple card to make. Now you want to remember to turn your paper and your stamp set, or one or the other, as you're stamping and getting the density of images that you want. And so you can actually throw your block across the table if you want. So I think what I'm going to do is leave this blank at the bottom for right now, and then we'll put this on here like this. And that way I'm going to go ahead and add stars to the bottom. Yep, I've decided against that. So let me go ahead and do this. But sometimes it's nice to have a card that's relatively simple, that doesn't have tons of layers on it. If you're going to add something to the card, like let's say you're sending a gift card, or you're enclosing something that you've printed from the newspaper or something like that, you can all come back and do that. Now, one more thing that I'm going to do to add a little bit of texture to this is I'm going to rough up the edge. Now, the easiest way to rough up the edge is to simply take the edge of your scissors, and all you're doing is this. And what it's doing is it's giving a little bit of texture and gives you something. So especially since I'm intentionally not adding a lot of layers to this card, this allows me to add texture and some difference on the front of the card. You wipe it all off. Now we want to trim this to 4 1/4 because that's the width of the card. So let's get our mini trimmer. So we're going to center that at about, 4 1/4 would be about 2 1/8. So that'll be about center. So 4 1/4 is going to be right there. And then we'll come back and we will add this with dimensionals, because we love dimensionals, don't we? And I'm not going to add any ribbon to this time, I don't think. So, all right. Now, all three of these cards are going to be suitable. It's going to be perfect to add some, let's see, I've got some rhinestones to add to this. I like adding some, you know, actually, I think I'll add, oh, my beagle came to visit. He's crazy dog. So we'll add some rhinestones to at least this one. You know, I like it. It adds, like, again, it adds a little bit of bling. Just gives a little bit of just something else to look at on the paper. You don't always have to add something, but it does make it a little bit fancy. And we'll do this. And you know what, guys? We are going to pull it in at right under 30 minutes for 3 cards. So that's one of the things I wanted to show, is that you can pull this off, make 3 cards in less than 30 minutes, 3 completely different cards. Now, so we have Make Today Ridiculously Awesome. It's a little subdued. You have that on the inside. You have the You Got This with the sentiment on the inside, and the sentiment here, and then Make Ridiculously Awesome. So it's something to think about, is that you don't have to be super complicated in your card making, and there are certain efficiencies that you can achieve by using the Stamparatus and doing some assembly line work with your card and your cardstock and making those all together. So I hope you've enjoyed that. Oh, and what you see right here, let me give you a little sneak peek here. This is part of a kit that I received today from my upline, because I registered to attend our virtual convention, which is this week, unveiling the new catalog. She sent to us a card base, the Happy Birthday, that's been cut out of the Birthday Chicks die cuts. And then these are samples of all of our new in colors. This is Evening Evergreen, Fresh Freesia, Soft Succulent, Polished Pink, and the Pale Papaya. These are little leaves that I fussy cut from some DSP. So that's a simple, that gives you sort of a sneak peek of the colors that are coming out with the new in colors for the new catalog year. So, all right. Like, you know, always, if you've got questions, please don't hesitate to DM me. I will be posting these pictures on my page later. I'll put some measurements out there. And always, you know, don't forget to come back next week and see what I got stirring. All right, thanks a lot. Oh, one other thing. I'm sorry, there's one more card I forgot to show you. This is one that I also made using the Stamparatus, using this set, where I simply stamped the P.S. I Love You all the way down using the hinge step, and I came back and I stamped the stars. And then to do it this way, I simply used my trimmer, my large trimmer, and I trimmed up to this point and to this point, and then I hand cut around the stars on both sides, just to give you something different. All right, thanks a lot, guys. It's been a great week. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Stay dry and all of those things. Hey, Barb, glad to see you. All right, take care. Bye-bye, guys.